A homosexual French education minister has decided to ban the abaya of Muslim girls at schools. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ummah Matters. My name is Ferdaos Khan Nangarhari. We are all aware of the Islamophobic things and bans that have happened in the past. They banned the niqab, they banned the hijab at schools, and there were many Islamophobic cartoons that were published in France against our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him. But now, just before the start of this academic year, the French educational minister announced that they will ban the Islamic abaya, the Muslim dress abaya, meaning that Muslim girls are no longer allowed to wear the abaya at school. On the first school day, there were about 300 brave Muslim girls who wore the hijab, who wore the abaya, and they went to school. Most of them were forced to take off their abaya, and those who refused, they were sent back home. You may know that France has something called laïcité. It was introduced in 1905 to separate the church and the state. By doing this, they wanted to reduce or end the influence of the Catholic Church on the French state. So by knowing the context, laïcité means that the state is neutral. The state does not interfere with religion, and religion does not interfere with the state. And the citizens have the freedom to choose a religion or not to choose a religion. The French government had a very troubled summer. So towards the end of June 2023, a French Muslim teenager by the name of Nahil Marzouk was shot and killed by the French police. This triggered nationwide riots in France, and that lasted about 3 weeks. This was the worst civil unrest in French history since 2005. Back then, also 2 Muslim teenagers were electrocuted while hiding from the police. At the same time, in summer, you had protests continuing from 2022 against the French government's decision by which they wanted to raise the retirement age, and this was solved through a referendum. And you had a lot of other demonstrations by health workers, by teachers, by students, by environmental activists. As if this was not enough, the French government had also to deal with Niger. Niger is the main source of French uranium. So all of this made the summer a very chaotic period for the French government. But as the summer was about to end, the French education minister, Gabriel Attal, who is of a Jewish descent and an open homosexual, he decided that he would ban the abaya. It was one of his major decisions as a French education minister. So while announcing the ban, he said that the public schools must at any cost be protected from religious indoctrination. Now he is linking religion and particularly Islam with indoctrination. If for the sake of argument, someone says that the minister's choice of being a homosexual is also a form of sexual indoctrination, how would the minister react? Would he be okay with that? How would the media react? How would the French public react? I think you can guess the answer. Don't you think that there are more important things as an education minister to focus on? But still, he wants to ban the abaya. And this ban has also made him famous, so people know him. I know him now. You probably know him now. And this is what politicians do. They use every single opportunity to attack Islam, mainly as a PR stunt. Such politicians, they are desperate to seek people's attention. When the Taliban makes it a rule that all the Afghan women must dress modestly, they call it gender apartheid, they call it oppression of women. But now when a European government is gradually discriminating against Muslim women, the world is silent. They will show you in the media a girl crying in front of her school, not being allowed to enter her school by the Taliban government. But where are the images of girls, Muslim girls, not being allowed to enter their schools wearing the abaya? Where is the criticism of them? Why is the world silent about that? Why is no one criticizing them? France is calling itself a secular, democratic republic. Don't you think banning modest clothing by a secular democratic republic is a hypocritical decision? To dress modestly is something universal. A lot of women, Muslim or non-Muslim, they choose to dress modestly. Let me show you a short clip.
As you mentioned, I mean, especially with the fashions that are happening right now. I mean, frankly, I bought an abaya to wear to a trip to Saudi Arabia for work. And then I wore it a couple weeks ago to a friend's christening at a church because it's in fashion right now.
And it's not overt. It's not, explicit. It's not.
And it's also
just loose fitting.
Right. It strikes me once again almost in the opposite way of trying to dictate what women are wearing and how they are dressing their bodies.
Yeah.
How are they going to enforce this without telling someone who's wearing a long peasant dress that they also have to go home and change?
This was just an example. Even non-Muslim women, they prefer to dress modestly. Some prefer to dress modestly all the time, some prefer to dress sometimes. But modesty is in human nature. To me, it is also not a surprise that the French women, even the non-Muslim French women, they would want to dress modestly. There was an article published on Mundak about sexual harassment in France. First of all, the article says that women in France are not being treated equally as men. The women feel that they are being discriminated against in many areas of social life, in the public, in schools, and also where they work. The article also says that there is an increase of sexual harassment in French society. According to a survey which was done in 2019 by the French Institute of Public Opinion, of the women they asked, 30% of them said that they had faced sexual harassment, sexual assault in their workplaces. Now, it is natural for women, when they see such things happening to them, that they would want to dress modestly so that pervert men don't get wrong signals. So if a modest woman lives in such a society, it is not a surprise to me that they would want to dress modestly. But yet you have here a minister of education banning modest clothing. And this ban contradicts the whole concept of laicity. Laicity indicates that the state should not interfere in personal affairs. It should not interfere in religious affairs. And also religion should not interfere in the state's affairs. The concept of laicity expects the French state to remain neutral. Now, by telling Muslim girls what they're allowed to wear in schools and what they are not allowed to wear in schools, it is clearly interfering in personal and religious matters. It goes against the concept of laicity. They are dictating to people what they're allowed to wear and what they're not allowed to wear. Any person with logic and reason will understand that this is nothing but a way to discriminate against Muslim women. By banning the hijab, by banning the niqab, by banning the abaya, they are taking the identity of the Muslim women away from them. Just a simple piece of clothing cannot harm a fly. It cannot harm anything. But yet they want to make a big issue out of it. They are just using any excuse that they can find to make the life of ordinary Muslims living in France difficult for them. And by doing this, they are targeting people with a migration history, which makes it also a racist decision. And what makes it more sad is that these young girls were not asked for their opinions. They could not decide for themselves. The government said just a few days before their school would start that we are going to ban this, and they banned it. Is this the same government which has the motto of liberty and equality and fraternity? This does not look anything like liberty, anything like equality to me. This is a politically motivated decision to discriminate against Muslim women. The French government has made life hard for the Muslims living there in the past. They are doing it today, and I'm afraid this trend will continue even in the future. They hate Islam, they hate Muslims, so whenever they find an opportunity to make life hard for them, they will do it. Unless there comes a strong response from the Muslim world, from the international community, and from the French Muslims. So you need a strong response from the Muslim world. The international community must raise their voices and put pressure on France to treat the French Muslims equally. And also, there is a need for the unity of French ordinary Muslims. So not the organizations, ordinary Muslims, that they should unite. And whenever such decisions take place, there should be a strong reaction from the Muslim community. And believe me, I do believe firmly that there will be many French non-Muslims who will join them in this cause, who will support them in this cause. And the French Muslims, when they are united, they can easily and firmly fight such types of rules and regulations within the French law and also under the European law. They can fight, and inshallah, they will win. It is very important that politicians like Gabriel Attal and many others in different European countries, that they should be made to realize that the Muslims and Islam now belongs to Europe. They are part of Europe. They cannot be excluded, and they must be treated equally. Such people should also know that history will not forgive them. Though they are in positions of power today, the world is going to change tomorrow. We are hopeful there will be, inshallah, better leaders who will treat all citizens equally. And at that time, these people, their names will be mentioned, that such and such oppressed Muslims and such ways in that particular country. They may reach temporary fame in today's world, but they will go down the line as racist, Islamophobic politicians of a particular country. Thank you for being with me. See you soon.